Hey guys, welcome back, it's Veronica, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a iron-on watermelon patch. So all you'll need for this DIY is some fabric. I use cross-stitching fabric, but you could use whatever you want. And then a needle, some sewing floss, then I also used a hoop ring, which is totally optional, but it just helps you hold your work better. Then you'll also need heat and bond, scissors, a pencil, Mod Podge, and a iron. So I'm going to be starting off, like I said, with some cross-stitching fabric, and then I'm just going to take a pencil and trace on the design that I want for my patch. And if you mess up, that's okay, because this usually erases pretty easily. Then I'm just going to thread my needle with my floss, and I'm going to start making the rind. So first I'm going to pop on my hoop ring just so that I can hold my work easier. And if you guys don't know how to do this, it's pretty simple. You just put one ring on the back and then the ring with the screw on the top, and then you can kind of loosen and tighten it so it fits over the fabric. So then I'm just going to start on my rind. So I'm going to take my needle with floss and I'm going to pull it through the back, and then I'm just going to make a very simple stitch all along the watermelon rind. And this can take a lot of time, but the more time you take on this and the more stitches you put into it, the better it's probably going to look. I'd say this patch probably took me about 2 to 4 hours to make, but it probably would have taken me less time if I had kind of known what I already wanted to do. So now I'm just going to keep making these stitches all the way along the sketch that I made, and then I'm going to just tie that off. And when I flipped this over, I realized that I had a big knot because of the excess floss that I had, which you really want to try and not do, but it's okay if it does happen, because in the end we'll be using Mod Podge to kind of seal it, and that will hold everything together. And then we're going to be using some dark pink floss for the inside of the watermelon. So when I started out doing this, I used smaller stitches and I wanted to fill the entire watermelon with small stitches because I figured that would make it look the best. But as I got doing it, I realized that that was going to take me forever. So I just decided to make one long stitch along the whole center of the watermelon, back and forth all the way down the watermelon. And then for the top of the watermelon, I ended up using a lighter color to kind of cover up the stitches on top and make the center of the watermelon. So to do this, I just kind of went outward with the lighter pink and kind of made like spikes almost, kind of towards the outside and center of the watermelon, if that makes any sense. So then I'm just going to tie the pink off. And then I'm going to take some white floss and I'm going to add it to the inside of the rind. And I really didn't need to do this because I was using white material, but I think it just adds a little bit more to the patch. Then for the last step, I just added some black seeds with some black floss. And I only needed a few little stitches to do this. Then once I finished up with the seeds, I just popped my fabric off of the ring, and I was done with the sewing part of this. So now I'm just going to take a scissors and kind of clean up the back of the patch. And as long as you make sure you don't really cut into the fabric or the front part of the patch, you should be fine, because we're going to add Mod Podge to this and it'll just seal it all together. So even if you cut some of the important parts of this that's kind of holding it all together, you'll be adding some Mod Podge to keep it together as well. So then I just took a paintbrush with some Mod Podge and I just made sure it was all over the back of the patch. Then after I gave this a few minutes to dry, I took a scissors and just kind of roughly cut it out of the material. And you really don't want to cut this too close on the first time because you don't want to cut any of the floss. So then once I roughly kind of cut this out, I cut this out a second time and made sure that I got all of the edges. So then you're finished with your patch. Now you could just sew this on directly, otherwise I'm going to show you a way to make this an iron-on patch. So all you're going to need is some heat and bond and an iron. And the heat and bond I used was in strips, but I know you can buy this in more of a sheet, which might work better for the patch part. So I'm just going to roll out 2 little strips for the back of the patch, and I'm going to kind of cut it around the edge as well. Then I'm just going to take a towel and lay out my heat and bond strips, and then I'm going to iron them on. So now I'm just going to leave the plastic part of the heat and bond on the back, and then once I go to use the patch, I will just peel them off and iron on the patch to whatever I want it on. So that's how you make a iron-on patch. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing with this one yet. I think I might end up ironing it onto a white t-shirt I have with a pocket, and I'll sew it onto the pocket part of the t-shirt because I know that looks really cute. Otherwise, I might sew it onto a denim jacket that I have. Alright, so that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!